Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott, and I'm here today to talk to you about what has become my favorite strap if you have a small mirrorless or small DSLR body like the new Canon SL2, for example. Last year I reviewed the slide strap from Peak Design, and I said at that point that it was the strap you wish your camera came with. I'm going to say the same thing when it comes to the Leash here for those that are looking for something for a smaller mirrorless body. And a lot of that has to come down to just some very smart, practical ways in which it's designed. I've used it at events, I've used it while out hiking, I've just used it for everyday general purpose for a lot of reasons. Of course, like all Peak Design things, because of their anchors, it comes off really easily. And that's one of my probably chief objections to, another one of my chief objections to a lot of the straps that come with cameras is that they're not all that easy to take on and off. A lot of times they're just designed to be, kind of slung around your neck, and so they're not all that comfortable or ergonomic, and they kind of get in the way. And just the way that they mount doesn't lend themselves very well to carrying them in a sling type position like this. Peak Design's anchors make that much simpler, and they've now been redesigned to be thinner, and yet at the same time they are rated to support up to 200 pounds, which obviously is far more than what this Sony a6500 is here. But of course the nature of those anchors is that it's a piece of cake to just kind of snap everything back together and to put it back on when you want to use it. If you remember a few years back, kind of the key word when it came to a lot of corporate lingo was the word synergy. And that's a word that I'm often reminded of when I think about Peak Design's products. Number one is that while the Peak Design Leash, it does come with its own, you have a couple of options in terms of the anchors, and the anchors are designed to where they'll easily fit on the smaller lug points of, smaller mirrorless bodies. Or of course you have an option, as I'm using here, to mount something on the bottom plate at the tripod mount, where you can also of course attach an anchor to that. And this piece is a really nice, kind of reminds me of an Apple product. It's kind of that milled aluminum look, very classy, very well implemented. And of course everything with Peak Design stuff is, it's just very well thought out. But again, talking about synergy, I'm using actually the bottom piece from the Capture Pro that I use all the time, which means if I'm using a backpack like the everyday backpack that I use from Peak Design, I can just use that same thing to pop down into that. Or then if I want to go to put it on a tripod, like today I'm carrying a small carbon fiber tripod, the Oben CT3535 that I reviewed last year. And so I can very quickly just go right to that because it is Arca Swiss compatible and ready to just go right down into the tripod. And so, all of those ways of kind of interconnecting together makes it just, more useful with less time spent, taking things apart or readjusting to work in another scenario. But when it comes to, particularly like for shooting events, what I really like is that making adjustments is really very simple. And you have some really nice kind of higher end looking leather stitching here. But all you got to do is just to grab onto this point, and you can either just go up or you can go down to either tighten up if you're not wanting it to move around, or if you're wanting more space to operate, you can loosen it up. And you've got a couple of those where you can use that. So what I'll do a lot of times, for example, is that I'll loosen things up when I want to shoot. But then if I want things to be out of the way, I'll tighten it up. And a lot of times just kind of push it behind my back, and so I can get in and I can operate and I can move around while keeping a camera handy and ready to shoot. And then going to shoot or to tighten it up is just as simple as going up and down. And so it's just a really effective system. And of course there is a secondary strap here or adjustment point that you could use in a similar fashion, and you can also switch things up depending on which hand you want to hang things from. Now, in terms of the actual padding on the strap, there's not a lot of padding on it, but that's why it's designed really for lighter camera bodies. But I find that because of the way that I can kind of position it perfectly, I don't really feel a lot of weight hanging on me, and so I don't get uncomfortable carrying it for extended periods. The material itself is much like seatbelt material, except for with an even tighter weave, and so it's incredibly strong and durable, and it's got a special coating to allow things to slide more smoothly on it, and so everything kind of works the way that you'd want it to. And so, I mean, let me put it this way. Since I actually got the Leash from Peak Design, I've been using it nonstop. I haven't used anything else, and I have no intention of going to anything else because I think it's pretty much perfect for what I want to do. And particularly when when I can go to different things that I use to carry and or support the camera, and so it just makes it a treat to use all around. The price is really not all that bad for it either, and so if you're looking for a strap, take a look down in the description down below and I'll give you some direction to where you can pick one up and purchase one for yourself. I'm Dustin Abbott, and if you haven't already, you can follow me on social media. You can become one of my patrons and help to support these reviews to keep coming to you. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.